Yat-da-da-dum! It's day 7 of this Getting Back into Shape challenge, this week-long Getting Back into Shape after a break. And I can't believe it's already day 7. It's gone by so fast. Before I get into the work that I'm going to do today, and that I'll encourage you to do as well, I wanted to bring up one point. Why am I doing this in the first place? When I was a high school student, I heard about a professional player who had taken 2 weeks off. And it wasn't my teacher, it was somebody who played in an orchestra somewhere. And the word that I had heard when I was in high school was this person took 2 weeks off and it took them 6 months to get back to where they had been. So the rule was don't take a break. Whatever you do, don't take 2 weeks off. It's too damaging. And this is a thought that I had had for a really long time, even into my professional career, well into my professional career. And it's only in the last, I can't say when I started to ask the question. When I started to ask the question and say, how legit is this really? I mean, is it possible that it took this player 6 months? Yes, I can't doubt that. I wasn't there and I can't doubt that. But I can say, what is it? What was the reason that this player may have taken 6 months to feel like they were back where they were? And just from a physical point of view, I have become a runner. It's just an anecdote. I've become a runner that I'll run a 5K 3 times a week in good weather. I'm not running that 5K myself in weather like this. It's the winter time in New England, and you can see probably a little bit of snow on the ground behind me. I am not running in this weather, so it's probably going to be March or April before I'm out there again. Is it going to take me 2 months to get back to running a 5K? No, it won't. It'll take me 2 weeks. And so it's not that I'm losing muscle tone. Certainly haven't lost muscle tone in 2 weeks of not playing, not to the point of not being able to play anymore. So the question is how can I avoid being in a circumstance where I do feel like it takes me 6 months to get back? It must have something to do with the coordination. And so by doing what I did and having the process that I did with mirror work, with being smart about how I did it, or at least having a plan in place, I sought to avoid the difficulties that can come from taking an extended break. And I really do feel like, having been through the practice session I did yesterday, I feel like maybe I'm ready to go back into it. But here's the second thing. The question that we ask ourselves is, when are we ready to get back into performance? The truth is, what I'm going to do, if you stuck with me through this, I've got an Easter egg for you, because this practice session I'm going to do right now actually builds on something that I was working on over holiday pops. But a little fish is swimming in the Charles River and swims out of the Charles River into Boston Harbor and encounters a bigger fish and says, "Excuse me, can you tell me where's the Atlantic Ocean?" Well, what do you think the big fish says? "You're in the Atlantic Ocean." How do we know when we're ready to start performing? By performing and by just doing it, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing. So the work that I did a couple days ago, 2 days ago, that multi-track, I'm actually going to do one that I had started working on over holiday pops, but I'm going to complete it today with starting a whole new version. And I'll come back and tell you more about that when I get there. But in the meantime, I'm going to give myself 60 minutes to do it, figuring I've got the time, and 60 minutes is going to be my warm-up and my performance. We're going to put this together and come back with me in just a minute. And I am at the end of my day, having done a day's worth of work. I did a session this morning, did some recording, and then I went and redid some recording this evening. I've sort of scattered it about, but I finished my project. Now, I want to mention, why do I do projects in the first place? And there is a great quote that I was just recently introduced to, or reintroduced to, by Dorothy Sayers. And it's such a great quote, what she has to say. What she says is the following. It's, "For man is never truly himself except when he is actively creating something." When I do recording projects, when I play just music, I'm playing and everything I do is temporary. But when I record, there's something tangible at the end of it that I can go back and recreate what I've just done, and or at least have a reference of this live performance. That's why I do this kind of thing. Now, what I found as I did this project was it really recharges me, and it really, by doing this, I'm able to do, as I talked about in the first session, this fish that wound up leaving the Charles River, goes into the Boston Harbor and says, "Point me to the Atlantic Ocean." If I'm actually in the process of recording, I am back into it. And it's taken me 1 week. I've done it. Now I want to emphasize, this is not, the way I did this over these 7 days is not the only way to do it. It is a way, and it is a way that I improvised around. I had a basic plan for what I wanted to do, but I improvised it. The question I ask myself is, what did I do? As if I get back to what I mentioned in the beginning of today, it was the importance of what I wanted to do chiefly was to establish my basic control so that I could avoid bad habits creeping in when I hadn't played for a couple weeks. That's exact. Do I feel like I've done that? Yes, I do. In fact, I feel as solid now or more solid technically as I did. And if I've been given another couple of days, I probably would be equipped to play a recital. I'm not now, but if I need to play a couple pieces on a recital, could I? Absolutely, I could. And within another week, I probably would have the strength and the stamina to be able to do a recital on my own. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to get back into it. I hope you found this to be a good way for you for getting back in. And if you don't like this or you find other things that are helpful, by all means do them. This is a way. And now without further ado, here's the final project that I just did, the last movement of the Bourgeois Trombone Quartet. Thank you so much for tuning in and hope you enjoy this little coda. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3.